So Jill Stein put this video out herself, and this is her first interview after the arrest. Let's listen to the interview here.
Let's make Dr. Stein look great. Not gonna hurt. Whenever you like it, Sam.
Yeah, I'm just coming out of jail, so I don't know what my hair is doing.
This will be a very easy first question because I don't have to ask you to spell your first and last name or tell me what your title is because we know all that stuff. Looking good, Sam? Okay, take a breather. How long? Well, I'm going to ask this as well. Let's start with this. Dr. Stein, when you're coming out, how long were you in there for? What was it like when you were in the St. Louis County Jail?
It was kind of scary, to tell you the truth, because I got separated from the rest of the crowd, and it initially felt like there was a lot of safety in numbers, but then it turned out that I was being charged with assault after being assaulted by a bicycle and basically thrown onto my head backwards. I was charged with assaulting a police officer. Can you believe it? And so I got separated out, and I was alone going through this whole other process where I was going through a medical exam. I had, regular steel handcuffs put on and sat a long time sitting alone in a cell. And I had no idea, did anybody even know I was there? I had been separated from my team. And, was I going to be there all night? Was I going to be there for a week? What's going on? And when could I call my lawyer? So I was just completely led through this process, completely blind. And I'm really glad that, we got out. What time were we brought in? When did we get arrested? My guess is around 7:30, something like that, and finally got out at around 1:30 or 1:45, something like that.
So quite a long time. Obviously, you were not here to have all of this happen. You were here, as I'm assuming, to campaign, talk to people in St. Louis.
And to get on the ballot so that voters could have a choice, so that, the American public opposes the genocide, wants an immediate ceasefire and a diplomatic solution. So we want to get that on the ballot. We want a pro-worker campaign to be on the ballot. We want an anti-war campaign and a climate emergency campaign. We are the only campaign that actually represents all of those issues. So we have a lot to fight for to enable the American people to have a choice, and the American people are clamoring for a choice. They don't want these two zombie candidates rammed down their throat again.
You heard her first words now about how she felt after the arrest, during the arrest, and what happened. I did want to play that first part first before I actually showed you the video. So now we're going to show the video where they're saying she's the one who assaulted somebody. And I'll read it. This is from Anthony Zankas, who was just here. Jill Stein was arrested and charged with assault after cops used bicycles and weapons to assault protesters. She was then placed in steel cuffs and taken to a separate room from the other 100 protesters who were zip tied. Democrats are hoping to win by gelling their opponents. The arrest took place at Washington University in St. Louis. St. Louis is a city run exclusively by Democrats. There is not one elected Republican or independent in the entire city government. So here's video. Now that's Jill Stein with the white hair or gray hair, white grayish hair. You tell me tell me where you see Jill Stein assaulting anybody. You point that out. It's 45 seconds.
Hold the line now, hold the line. Hold the line. Hold the line, hold the line. Get back! Hey, you get back! You get back! That's his foot! That's his foot! That's his foot! You get back! Hold the line now! Hold the.
There's Jill Stein. I don't see her arms extended. You have to extend your arms to assault somebody. assault somebody, right? Is the bike the victim? Is that because she touched the bike? Like what is she being charged? Of course, this charge is not going to stand. She have the means to get a lawyer. This is a joke. But understand why she was separated. She would have a lot more validity in any disputed stories about what happened in the jail. All those non-known or those unknown people in prison, the other 100 people that was arrested with her, all their stories about what happened to them in custody and the brutality from police, nobody's going to listen to that. They will listen to Jill Stein. They will definitely listen to Jill Stein. That's why she had to be separated. She can't be a witness to that. For her to be able to go out and get on platforms where people would actually want to listen to her, not some random person that they arrested. But she's being charged. Now, let's go back to the original video. Not the original, but her talking about her arrest. Oh, not this one. This one here. So we're gonna move it ahead.
Her campaign to be on the ballot. We want an anti-war campaign and a climate emergency campaign. We are the only campaign that actually represents all of those issues. So we have a lot to fight for to enable the American people to have a choice, and the American people are clamoring for a choice. They don't want these two zombie candidates rammed down their throat again, and by huge majorities, Americans want other choices. So we want to provide that choice. We have to jump through all kinds of hoops for Americans to be able to exercise, basic democracy in the voting booth. We have to collect, I don't know what it is, something like 10,000 signatures total in Missouri in order to get on the ballot. So if people want to be sure that you have an actual choice on the ballot, you can contact either our campaign, JillStein2024.com, or get in touch with the Missouri Green Party to help with that drive.
And of course, Dr. Stein, this is not the only protest going on. Some of them have gotten significantly worse, more arrest suspensions. But then, of course, some of them have been peaceful at other universities where there isn't police involvement. Speak to what this is like here at St. Louis, where you have a situation like this, where there have been more than 80 arrests, yourself included. How does this fit into the larger picture nationwide?
It's pretty bad. I think it's a really bad look for the university that they are out there. Basically, they've called out the police and they are arresting this encampment that is nothing other than the exercise of our constitutional rights. This is about freedom of speech, and not just any old freedom of speech, but freedom of speech on a very critical issue that needs debate and dialogue. And there they are, sending in the riot police and basically creating a riot in an otherwise peaceful demonstration. So this is just shameful. We tried to dialogue with the administrators who were there and encourage them to think big picture here and to allow students to do what they were doing peacefully. And, it might have helped delay action, but actually when we were asked by the students to join their defense. And to tell you the truth, I felt it would be unconscionable not to do that, because our future really is in their hands. It has always been the role of young people to stand up and really lead the way forward in the civil rights movement, in the environmental justice movement, and so on. And that's what young people are doing right now. And for us not to support them when they are putting everything on the line, their lives, their careers, their graduation, it's just heart-wrenching, what young people are going through. So we want.
And I concur everything that she's saying here. And I thought she was just gonna get released. People protest and they get released the next day, disorderly conduct or something like that, pay a fine, come back, something like that. It's pretty typical. To be charged with assault is preposterous in this instance. All right, so let's get to the next part here. If you want to go check out the rest of the interview, there's probably another good 3.5 minutes of the interview where she kind of just reiterates the same things that she said. So that's why I'm ending it there. But I do want to get some comments. Here's Ajamu Baraka's take on Jill Stein situation, a better angle on the attack on Jill and the students at Washington State University. But hey, it would be worse under Trump, right? Smash the duopoly, build people's power, and confront the fascism championed by neoliberal Democrats. That is a spot-on take there by Ajamu Baraka there. All right, so now let's pivot, staying on Jill Stein, but we're going to pivot to her calling out RFK Jr. in this tweet here. And I mentioned it earlier today, but RFK Jr. and the weasel that he is showed up, or maybe his people, his campaign showed up at one of these rallies to get signatures to get on the ballot. So let's listen. So let's read this tweet from Jill Stein. PSA, the RFK Jr. campaign is collecting ballot access signatures at pro-Palestinian events. Let's pause here. Now understand, we know who Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is. He is a staunch Zionist. Now I can only go off what you say, because Professor Anthony was here. He was like, he doesn't know if RFK, basically he was saying he doesn't know if RFK is pretending he's such a staunch Zionist or not. And I'm just saying, coming out, I'm believing what he's saying. So I'm going to call him a staunch Zionist. But for a staunch Zionist, a person who doesn't believe in the things that you're saying is getting signatures at the event, I would hope that the people who are at the event are not signing it knowing that he is pro-Zionist. I would hope that is the case. But let's read Dr. Jill Stein's tweet in calling out RFK. The RFK Jr. campaign is collecting ballot access signatures at pro-Palestinian events. RFK Jr. is not a peace candidate. He fully supports the genocide in Gaza. New York and other states only allow you to sign for one candidate. So make sure you know who you're signing for. That is a great point. California is one of those states. You can only sign a petition to get one candidate on. So if you sign both, so if you're one of the people who would be susceptible to signing a petition to get RFK on the ballot, just as long as if you sign for Dr. Jill Stein at one of these events and you sign for RFK Jr., you're disqualifying your signature for both of them. They'll be thrown out on both tallies. So that is not something I would recommend. And of course, if you're there as a pro-Palestinian protester, you will want to go for the candidate or sign the petition to put the candidate on the ballot that aligns themselves with your policy belief. RFK Jr. is not that. He's simply not that.